Tim Anderson Podcast. I'm Tim, back in my regular table, kind of former spot here in the studio. I'm Tim, and that is my buddy Ty, and we do not believe in things on our walls behind us on the podcast. Although I'm trying to get some of our pictures up. The gal, this one's a little off center, as you can see, if you're watching the video part of this, which will probably be on YouTube. But it's coming together. Ty, you look great. Good to see you. How have you been?
I've been doing well, and yeah, so my surroundings are a little bit unfamiliar right now. So, as the folks at home may or may not know, we are putting our house for sale very soon. So today we had a professional stager at our house. So I'm sitting in a new position, the same chair I'm always in, but different setting. Yes, nothing on the wall because you don't want any family pictures for showings and for the photos online. So we're trying to get top dollar for this thing.
Well, it's still time for you to do so. You're building a palatial estate. You're building a new Shrupp Manor. Some stately Shrupp Manor is what I think we're going to call this new place. Just a little up the road, right? And that's on its way, right? It's in the process.
Yeah, it's a half a mile away. And we're moving in hopefully sometime in October. But the home is, to me, it seems like the home's going to be ready in a few weeks, but it's not. That's not how it goes. So
they say you can move in, you just can't use anything. No water, electricity. It's fine. Everything else is fine, though. Oh, good stuff. Well, that's fantastic. How's your golf game?
So my golf game is pretty good. I have to be careful. The last time I went out, I played a scramble. Played very well personally.
Yes.
I know you're a big fan of
Scrambles are stupid.
Played very well personally, which I think in a scramble, it's easy to say that because you ignore your bad shots, right? Your bad shots don't turn into triples. And I think I probably played more like a 15 under and we shot like a 3 under because I was on a pretty weak team, but played a golf course I do not like. You might disagree, but I am not a fan of Forest Hills Golf Club in Forest Lake, Minnesota.
Never played it. It's a private club. They wouldn't let a guy like me on it.
Well, I was lucky enough to play it. Don't waste your time if you get the invite. Small rock hard greens, severely elevated, which that doesn't work at a golf course. So sprinklers would be a great addition to that golf course.
Got to keep the greens. I don't even mind firm greens. That's fine. Like firm greens, you got to hit a great shot to stop it or you got to run it up, but that's just it. You got to give me a place to run it. I need to be able to run it up. There's some courses that I played that are close by that I'm like, at least they give me 10 yards in front of the green. I can land it short. We can bounce it on. We can come up with some different shots to try to get it around the green. I don't mind that, but the greens do need to be a hair receptive. I occasionally have to stop a ball on it. Occasionally.
Right. And it reminded me a little bit, and I'm a little bit unfair to this course because it's not a terrible course. In fact, just popped up on my phone. Bubba Watson reportedly headed to Live Golf, which we kind of knew, but it is official. So it reminded me a little bit of Daytona Country Club. There's a few holes there when it gets hard in the summer that it's like, there's just no point.
I always play Daytona in the fall. Like, it seems like that's because that's when I get a good rate on it and I can go out there and play it. Now, you find I play it 2-3 times in the fall usually every year. And you're right, though. They have the elevated greens. They're punch bowls. And if you can't stop the ball on it, forget it. You got no chance because they just dribble right off the sides and you're chipping and you're doing all kinds of different stuff. You can't get anything close. Very hard to get a ball to stop in the summertime there within like 10 or 15 feet, 20 feet of the cup. No way it's going to happen.
Speaking of Forest Hills Golf Club, Tim, I wanted to get if we can.
Is Bubba playing there? Are they hosting the next Live event?
They might be. The guys would not be a big fan of the course, but I want to maybe try to see if technology can be on our side here. Check your phone. I just sent you a link. I want to get a live reaction. So okay. The Scramble tournament I'm at, it was not a charity tournament. It was for a Forest Lake Chamber of Commerce.
Where the hell did I just put my damn phone? I had it right here in front of me. I was telling you stories.
They made a big deal about this $1 million sponsor. The $1 million hole sponsor. So I'm thinking it's a hole in one on a par 3. You win $1 million.
Sounds good to me. I'm in.
Turns out.
Keep talking.
Turns out they take everybody in the tournament's name. So I think there were I think there were pretty close to 36 groups. So there was an A and a B at our hole, at least. Plenty of people.
Okay.
And they drew one person to take a shot from 150 yards. If they hold it, they got $1 million. You got to watch this shot. This is the person they drew. He had
watching.
one shot from 150 yards.
Oh.
One shot. Not
He's
bad.
3 feet from the jar. Oh, man.
Did you see how close that landed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And everyone was there watching. It was pretty cool.
Wow. Boy, that would have been something.
Just imagine if he would have duffed it and then everyone just showed up for nothing.
Well, then you're furious. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Does look like an interesting golf course. We'll talk about this maybe later on in the pod, but I've the more I sit around and watch, people in front of me, there's a little part of me that sees where private golf has a place. Not saying I'm there for it and I'm going anytime soon. I'm not. I'm a long way away from any kind of private club, but I get it. I definitely understand when you watch, 14-year-olds driving on the greens to pick up golf balls, and you're sitting there going, boy, that just wouldn't happen at certain places.
Right.
But what do you do? What do you do?
Right. And
go ahead.
We're lucky enough we don't have to talk about bad golf courses.
Certainly not.
We have a good golf course coming up, don't we?
Oh, we do, my friend. I cannot wait. Our little battle, what we talked about playing Troy Burn, we said that was one of our goals this year, that we were going to get out there and go play Troy Burn. The opportunity has arrived. We are playing Troy Burn. It's going to be great.
On my dime, which is even better.
Oh, it's even better when it's on your dime. Are you kidding me? It's the best thing ever when it's on your dime. But what I think I'll say about Troy Burn, as far as golf courses in the Twin Cities metro area, if you can go 35 minutes, draw a little circle around Minneapolis and say 35, 40 minutes, what's the best public golf course? There are some good ones. There are some good ones for sure. I don't think it gets better than Troy Burn in Hudson, Wisconsin. I really don't. Right across the border, it is a phenomenal golf course. Love it. Always in great shape. I fell in love with it a couple years ago when I played it for the first time in 2020. Thought it was amazing, and I've gone back every year to play at least one round because it's that good. I really love it.
I do think a lot of people that listen to us are local. So what other public golf courses would you put? I mean, they're kind of on their own tier, right?
Yes.
Is there anyone else on that tier?
In the metropolitan?
And then who would be directly below?
I thought Stone Ridge was good. I think they're really good. I just thought they were cheap because they make you pay for your own balls. And people will come to find with me, if I'm paying a lot of money, I want the balls for free. I want to hit range balls for nothing. It costs you nothing. I'm giving you $100+. Give me 25 warm-up balls. That's all you got to give me. 25 warm-up balls. And they give them to me everywhere else. Everywhere else that's a high-end course, I get free golf balls. I don't understand why Stone Ridge does that. I think it's cheap. I want them to change that because it would elevate their status if they did. Same with the Royal.
Is in the same.
Royal's in the
same
boat.
Category.
Royal's a beautiful golf course that is cheap. That are cutting corners. Sticking it to people, paying $90, $95 to play a round of golf, $100 to play a round of golf, and not giving them free balls on the range. I will stand forever on this mountain. I don't care if the course costs you $35 to play or $40 to play. If you have bought a round at the golf course, the range balls should be free. If you want to charge people the range just to use the range, I got no problem with that. You want to sell a range pass to somebody every month? I got no problem with that. That's fine. You'll still make plenty of money on those regulars who just want to go hit a bucket of balls. But if you pay for a round of golf, the balls on the range should be free. And it's ridiculous that they're not at some of those courses. Ridiculous.
So during these trying times, if Troy Burns says, hey guys, really sorry, shrinkflation, instead of upping the price, we just had to take away the free range balls. Do we go home?
I would say, you know what? White Eagle's not far away, and it's half the price. And if I'm going to pay for range balls, I'm not going to pay half the, whatever. We'd probably still play that round, but it would lower them in the ratings. They would drop them down for sure. Meadows at Mystic's great. The Wilds has a really great practice facility. I just don't love the golf course, the Tom Weiskopf design down in Prior Lake. But the practice facility is very nice, and the clubhouse was very nice, and I like the golf course. I like the people. So I have that one there. I just didn't love the course per se. Edinburgh, I don't like the people at Edinburgh. And I like the golf course, just not the people. So, and I'm still paying for range balls there. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. The city's got it wrong. Minneapolis, St. Paul area, we've got it wrong on how we handle the golf courses. We got to do a better job.
Totally agree. Bunker Hills thinks they're in that.
Yeah, they think so.
Category.
They ain't in that. They ain't in that. No. They should be giving free balls away too. They would elevate themselves if they did that.
It was I was reminded of when I was at the 3M Open recently that the senior deal used to be at Bunker Hills.
That's right.
It's my uncle.
I volunteered there. I volunteered there when I was in 8th grade. The Caldwell Burnett Burner senior, whatever it was, senior classic. Caldwell Bank Senior Burnett Classic, or whatever the hell it was. Couldn't say it. There were too many things going on in it. They're like, screw it. Let's go over here to this new course and call it 3M.
They built a course for it.
They did. The TPC got built for that tournament because they're like, Bunker's great, but Bunker lacks the infrastructure. It lacks the ability to. And the pros lit that place up. They just lit it up. No problems. They'd go out there, Hale Irwin fire 64 out there without breaking a sweat. Which, I guess that's cool, but not for me. I don't know. It's one of those things. So I'm glad to hear your golf game's getting better. I'm hoping you're in tip-top form for tomorrow. I expect your best. My game has leveled off after a really strong June. We've just sort of done this number. We flatlined a touch here in the month of July. We're still shooting okay, shooting high 70s. And I still really like the new TaylorMade irons I'm playing right now, which aren't really new, but they're new to me. I'm playing the P770s, and they are terrific. They're the best irons I've ever played. TaylorMade doesn't pay me money, so I'm not doing that. But I'm just telling you, I've never played irons as good as these.
I didn't even know you had those in your bag. You didn't play those at Sam Valley, did you?
No, I was still playing I was battling through the Mizunos that day. I was still So have I told you the story?
No.
I'll share it with you on the pod right here and now in front of you. So as the school year is winding down in June, my game is in the tank, right? We had talked, I think, even on the podcast that maybe 2 days before, you said, the M4s are for you, stick with the M4s. And I was on the range hitting the M4s. And a teacher colleague of mine comes to me and he says, I noticed you on the range last night and you were not hitting the Mizunos. Why? And I said, struggling, man. Can't put it together. Can't get the damn ball to do what I want it to do. I'm just scuffling. I'll figure it out. But for now, I just want to see balls do what I want it to do and whatever. And he goes, this is going to sound like a weird thing. But I have P770s that I can't hit. He just bought these irons and he hadn't been able to hit them. And he's been struggling. And he goes, he's like, I really liked hitting your Mizunos. I really did. Can we negotiate just for a couple weeks? I just want to take your clubs out for a couple weeks. And you can take my P770s out. And I go, well, man, they're not really my specs at all. Like, they're a little heavier than my shafts. They're stiff. I don't even know if I'll get these in the air, And he's like, well, just if you want to trade back in 2 weeks, no worries. I just want to see something different. Okay. No worries. I go to they sit in my closet for a couple of days, and I look at my gal, and I'm like, I'm going out Sunday. Do I take these clubs out? She's like, you're playing like shit. What do you got to lose? There's a wife for you, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
To be a fly on the wall.
Oh, yes. She says, you can't play any worse. You might as well take them out. So I did. I put them in the bag. Went out to Hidden Haven that morning. Shot 76. And I was hitting balls further than I've ever hit them, higher than I've ever hit them. Like, I was going over trees that I was like, there's no way I'm getting over that in the past. I'm flying greens. I'm doing stuff that I haven't done in a long, long time. and I shot 76. Like, and I've been shooting 85, 86, 87, 88 in the days and weeks prior. And I went out and I shot 76. Then I was like, all right, whatever. Fluke. Maybe it all just kind of came together. Went back out the next morning at a different course and shot 75. And I was like, there might be something to these irons. And then 74 and 75. And that's what it was for like a month solid. Just low 70s, low to mid 70s every round. And I emailed him back and I just said, hey, I don't know how you're getting on with the Mizunos. I'm just telling you that you're probably not getting these back. Just going to tell you that. And he understood. He was like, no, keep hitting them. They're obviously meant for you and they're not meant for me. So I swapped my Mizunos for the P770s and I haven't looked back.
So when you say teacher friend, like a high school teacher or a golf teacher?
High school teacher friend, just somebody who I work with in the building, and we were on like the last 2 days of school, and he was just like, weird question, yeah, and I guess we were on the range hitting, and I was hitting my M4s, and he was just like, what are you doing? You got these amazing clubs, and they are, like I said, I don't get paid by any of these manufacturers. Mizuno makes great stuff. I love Mizuno irons. I love them. My stepdad John has the same set that I had, except different shafts, and I love those irons. I'd steal those from him if I could. They were amazing. But these are great.
So what's the difference between the 770 and the 790?
You know, it's a great question. You have the 790s, right?
I have the 790, yep.
So we'll have to take a look at that tomorrow because it's got that really clean blade look. It's a really beautiful iron. It's a really beautifully constructed iron. It's forged. It's terrific. This is really inside. I don't know if our golf people love this. I don't know. Do they like hearing this stuff on the golf podcast?
I think so. Yeah,
but I love the way they look because they don't look like butter knives. Like, and that's always my fear of blades, right? If they look I like the bladey look. It's very clean. I love it. I don't know if I like blade clubs because of the thin top line and because I worry I'm not going to be able to. It just looks very scary and intimidating to me sometimes. These are like that perfect blend of like it has the bladey look, yet it looks like you can hit it, and it has some forgiveness to it, and it's like and these babies go. They're great clubs. I've just really enjoyed hitting them this year, and it's like I finally start to see like, oh, this is how you do it. Like, oh, this is how you can get a 7-iron in the air, and instead of hitting these kind of line drive bullets. We're getting some loft on it, and it's carrying. It's getting out there and having some distance, and that's fun. Like, that's really fun to do that. Now, again, we've leveled off a touch, but some of that's because I'm driving it like shit, and my pitching and chipping game has disappeared. But we have fresh wedges in the bag for tomorrow morning. Never been hit. Fresh wedges in the bag tomorrow morning.
Bomb Techs, or what did you pick up?
No, not Bomb Techs. I've looked at them, but actually I caught a great deal today in a clubhouse at a golf course, and I had to go get them. So they're in the bag tomorrow, fresh.
So wedges are the one thing that I
don't spend if they're $160. Ty, they're brand new, $160. I don't buy them. I can't do it. That's way too much for a wedge.
Anytime I buy new wedges, I can't use them right away.
Why not?
My wedge is like my nookie blankie. So as soon as I go to something different, it just doesn't feel right. A little bit different feel, look. It just doesn't work for me. So I usually throw a wedge in the garage, use it at the range, swing with it at the house, put it in my wife's bag, and then all of a sudden it'll end up in my bag. I have a Vokey wedge in my wife's bag right now that I'm ready to probably put in my bag. I haven't done it yet. The problem is it's a 54. Right now I run a 52 and a 58, so I'm worried that the 54 then will clash with the 58. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I wanted to tell you about my irons. I can tell you more tomorrow, but I know the listeners are dying to hear this story. So I have never hit irons better in my life than my P790. So that wasn't the case when I first got them. So I got one 18-hole round in last year with them. Then I had the winter, and I liked them in the winter, but hitting off the mats for me is never the same because I really do like to dig a little bit.
You're a gouger.
So
yep, you're a digger.
It's not like I go to Top Golf, and I'm like, just bring me food and beer. I don't really care to hit balls because it's not the same for me. It's not practice. It's not golf. So I start doing some experimentation with them, and I'm like, you know what? I know the technology is there. It's not like I was hitting my Cobra butter knives phenomenally. I hit those pretty well, but I found with those, the more aggressive I would get with the swing, the better it would be. So there was no smooth swing for me with those thin wedges because I couldn't get through the ground. So a lot of them were fat, or I wouldn't, I'd be trying to compensate for that, and then it'd be thin. So I had to take really aggressive swings. With these, I have found that I have finally mastered the smooth swing with my irons. And so when I walk up to a par three or reasonable mid iron shot, I suppose I always probably hit my pitch and my nine pretty well, but it was more like the 5, 6, 7 I was struggling with. Not so much off the tee because I can really just drive it and cut ground there. But I walk up to a par three. I take the yardage. I'm not so much about sight and feel and hey, because of the wind coming off the left, I'm really going to try to swing hard at this. I'm just like, I'm going to line up what feels straight to me. A lot of people say I line up left, and my divots do go left.
John's same way, and they tell me I'm the same way too. So don't worry about that.
And if it's between 150 and 163, I'm hitting my 9, and I'm going to take the same swing every time. If I'm 5, 6 yards short, I just have to be okay with that. If I'm 5 yards long, I have to be okay with that. But anywhere within that margin of error, and I've never hit better on par threes in my life because I'm taking the same swing every time. And I think that's been a big issue with me is I might take, let's say, 84 shots in a round, and 83 of them are different. I don't take the same swing twice in a round. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
So to be able to mold into that a little bit has been really refreshing, and I can't wait to show you.
Yeah, I can't wait either. This is going to be so good. And obviously, like I said, I think the world of Troy Byrne. It's a beautiful golf course, and we can't wait to go out there and tackle that bad boy very soon. And results of the match will follow on the next time Ty and I get together. So, Ty, where do you want to go? Do you want to talk Open? Because that was a couple weeks ago. I want to get your thoughts on it. Do you want to talk 3M a little bit? Do you want to talk more Live? Kind of, how do you want? What's the avenue here that we take as we move in?
Yeah, before I forget, let's talk the Open.
Yeah, let's do that. I watched it. I was cover to cover.
That might just segue us into Live.
It just might, my friend. Absolutely on that one. Yeah, the Open itself. Very interesting. I thought Cam was brilliant in the final round. I thought Rory played okay, not good enough. The stuff that holds Rory back is still the stuff that I thought held him back this time. He shot 70. He didn't miss a green, but he didn't wedge it close enough, didn't make enough putts. Cam went out of his mind and made everything for like a 2-hour stretch, and played. He shot 64. I mean, how are you gonna get mad? You can't. It was really an impressive performance from Cam Smith.
Yeah, it really was, and I was rooting for Cam Smith. I've been rooting for Cam Smith for a long time, and you and I have varying opinions about this tournament at St.Andrews.
Yes,
and just the way the course held up to the competition. And I agree, tee to green, it was boring, right? There was not a whole lot there, especially when these guys can just aim 30 yards left and say, if I'm in the wispy stuff, it's no big deal. At least I'll avoid those bunkers.
Yep.
That wasn't the way the golf course was designed. And I agree that's a sign that something needs to be done. And the golf course probably isn't quite what it needs to be.
Yep. We agree on that completely, 100%.
Around the green, though, I do think it's as true of a links course and what the Open should be once you get to the green, where guys can't really take wedges when they're 5 yards off in almost any case because of the undulation on the greens. And I do think it lives up to that.
Yes.
And I was okay with the score, to be honest. You know, it was enough of a challenge. I mean, look at Sunday. It's not like, there were a few guys who went out and shot nice scores, but in general, it was a pretty much an even par day for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Cam Smith, you have to give him credit. He set the world on fire. He made the golf course look easy. And I'm okay with that. If a golf course can be made to look easy by a guy who is just playing out of his mind and playing the best golf a human could possibly play, I can live with that.
Yes.
So I was definitely okay with the course. If it was going to be back there next year, I don't think that I would think any less of it, I guess, would be my point. And I think you probably would disagree with that.
The course, the problem here is this. The score is not the issue. But they had to do some stuff. I think Max Homa said this, that they had to put some pins in some really difficult, they had to really tuck them to protect them. I have a problem whenever there are 6 to 7 drivable par fours. I think a drivable par four is great. I'm okay with one on each side. That's fine. I'm good with it. I really am. But I don't want 6, 7 drivable par fours. And one is practically a drivable par four. If there wasn't the burn right there in front of the green, those guys would be flying driver into that thing too. But as it is, they're taking long iron and they're laying it up 50 yards short of the burn and they're flicking a little 70-yarder onto that green. To me, it's a great course, and I want to play. And I think both things can be true. I want to make sure that this is clear. This is not me saying St. Andrews sucks. I think St. Andrews is amazing. I think St. Andrews is one of the 5 best courses in the world. That is an absolute bucket list course. It is a fact. I want to play there. It looks intoxicating and beautiful and wonderful. And I also don't know if it's going to be able to host major championships at a high level in 10, 15 years. It's going to be events like this that create a ball rollback, because you can't just, Rory McIlroy or Cam Smith or whatever should not be able to just say, F it, I'm hitting it down there as far as I can go. And that's that. And there's no repercussions. And that's kind of what it was, because they're not worried about the ball spinning. They're not worried about losing the ball to the left or the right. They're fine. They're fine any way you look at it. They weren't going at any of the gorse bushes. It can be hard if you don't have your game. Victor Hovland taught us that. If you can't chip it and putt it around, you're going to struggle. But Rory McIlroy didn't make a putt. He literally had 36 putts and shot 70. Literally the worst he could shoot 2 under par. It was the worst he could have shot. Could not have shot worse than that. No way. That was basically par 70, par 68.5. It's got a lot of par 3.5s. Not a lot of par 4s, not a lot of par 5s, par 4.5s, par 3.5s. Now, some love that. And that's great. I need more than the road hole to be the difficult hole. I need a few difficult holes. I need a couple places where you put the brakes on and you say, you know what? You ain't making birdie here, pal. You better be happy to make par. Or if you're making a birdie, it's because you have hit 2 incredible shots. I'm not going to let you just drive the green, wedge it to 4 feet, and make birdie. Not going to let you do that. And so I have an issue there.
Yeah, and I think in this case, you and I are disagreeing on the overall principle, but everything you're saying, I agree with. I do agree. But I also think that if the wind is whipping in any direction, that takes away a couple of those.
Yep.
But I agree. If on the surface you're talking about having 6 or 7 drivable par fours, that's too much. And 18 is iconic, right?
Absolutely.
And it's fun once you get up to the green, but the tee shot is there's nothing to it, right?
Yeah, just flick it across the bridge, run it down there,
yeah.
No problem.
Yeah,
and again, like I said, both things can be true. I think it's an amazing golf course. I'm glad they play there, but I do think and everybody's like, oh, I love the firm and fast. I love the firm and fast. I also like firm and fast. this might have been too much of that, where like you're getting 100 yards of run in the fairway, 70, 80 yards of run in the fairway, and it's because they haven't had a lot of rain. Like they haven't grown. Like a lot of the fescue stuff was pretty wispy and pretty easy to hit out of. The rough was pretty nondescript, like what we're kind of dealing with here in Minnesota here in the last 2 weeks, where we haven't had a lot of rain, and there are some courses that are drying out pretty quick, and it is what it is. But I just think we didn't get. There was a lot of fire in the golf course, but there wasn't enough stuff to roadblock these professionals. There just wasn't.
Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of firm and fast, is it allows these guys to take yardage off. And there's some golf courses that have slope in the fairways, and then firm and fast can really hurt you, because if you don't hit the perfect spot in the fairway, you're going to end up 50 yards into the rough. Well, that's not really the case at St. Andrews, right? It's the fairways are so gratuitous, and there's not a ton of slope. There's berms and undulation, but it pretty much just leads you to another part of the fairway, and maybe a bunker, but probably not, because these guys,
they're flying the bunkers. They flew every bunker, flew them all. Yeah. Very rarely did a bunker come into play. Very rarely.
And that could be something you could do to a golf course like that, to say, okay, we put the bunkers here because this is where they used to hit it with the old technology, the old ball, the old player strength. Now these guys are stronger. The ball's better. The equipment's better. So the bunkers need to be in different spots. I don't know if you move the bunker. I don't know if you move the tee. That's way above my pay grade.
Problem is they're already running out of room. Like they can't be just moving these, tees around. There's not a lot of room left. It's a town. It's in the middle of the town. It's not like they can just be like, well, I guess we'll just go knock down a few more trees and put it up there. There is no more trees. Like there's no more room. It's going to be hard for you to find that.
Can you move a bunker though?
Moving a bunker that's been there 150, 200 years?
Better than not playing at the course at all?
Yeah, I suppose.
You can add a bunker.
Like I said, to the 99% of the people who play there year after year, the regular guys like you and me, who, I got it on my list. I told my wife after watching it, I want to go. I think I got to go there. You don't have to change anything. That would be fantastic just the way it is. And that's just it. Do you really want to change this great place for one event every 5, 6, 7 years? I guess I'm not interested in that. But I want to find a way to make it more challenging on the professionals without having to change the golf course.
Right. And St. Andrews, if they announced, hey, it was a good run, we love this golf course. RNA is right there behind the first tee and the 18th green. Very cool. But if they announced, hey, we're going to retire it from the rotunda, St. Andrews still has enough of an identity that it would still be a destination golf course without being in the rotunda, I do think.
I think it needs to be. I think the ladies should play there. Boy, that golf course would be super fun to watch the women play there. And they need to play there every 3 years. I think like the women need to play on that venue often, because then we'd really see and appreciate, I think, what that golf course could be, like, and what that golf course could still present. But yeah, without wind, without weather, without conditions, that course was pretty benign and gettable, and it still led to a very entertaining leaderboard and a great championship. But if you're asking me what I liked more, St. Andrews or Brookline, give me Brookline. For a major championship, give me Brookline 9 times out of 10. Because Brookline was firm and fast, but also really, really fair and tough and challenging. And that'll be still held up, I thought.
Right. No, I agree with you.
So, go ahead.
Cam Smith.
Yes.
So. Golf claps for Cam Smith.
Yeah, golf claps
Finally
for
got
Cam
his major.
Smith. Yep. He's got all the money in the world, he says. Living in this brilliant house in Florida.
Doesn't need any more money.
Doesn't need any more money.
What do with it?
What's he going to do with it all?
Maybe some fishing equipment.
Maybe fishing equipment. I think he said that.
Yeah.
The word on the street is it's $100 and some odd million offer on the table that they will take after the President's Cup because they want an all-Australian team next year on LIV. Scott Leishman, Cam, maybe Jay Day. I don't know who it will be, who the fourth person will be. But that's the word. 100 some odd million for Cam, maybe 50 million for Leash. Scotty gets 75, 80 million. And that's the rumor after the President's Cup. So you're not going to hear about this much until after the President's Cup, but I would not be surprised if the day after the President's Cup, they make that announcement.
And you're talking about Scotty Scheffler?
No, Adam Scott. All Australian.
Okay.
All Australian team. All Australian team.
Okay. So I have an issue with that, but I do have a question to pose. And I haven't read this. I'm sure it's been written, but it popped into my head. And I think I mentioned this on the last podcast. There's a lot of allegiance to the PGA Tour among American golfers. Now, we've seen American golfers, psychotic ones like
certainly our
Bryson
villainous.
DeChambeau.
Yep, our villainous ones for sure. Dr. Evil.
Brooks Koepka.
Brooks
Yep,
Koepka.
Brooks Koepka. Add him to that list. But I
Phil,
do think that that's
Patrick Reed.
different for guys. I don't know that there's as much of an allegiance to the PGA Tour among international golfers. Would that be fair to say?
I think that's fair to say, right? That they, even Seve didn't want to play the PGA Tour, that he was more about, playing around the world and being worldly, and, that's what he wanted to do.
It took Sergio Garcia a long time to play on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
We were really only seeing him at WGCs and majors for a while.
Right.
Is there an angle that if you're Cameron Smith and you grew up watching The Shark, might that be who he grew up idolizing over a Tiger Woods who sang "Don't Go to Live"?
Yeah, I think that's very possible. And, at the end of the day, money talks. This is what I've learned. Everybody's got a price. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, was right in the 1980s and 90s in pro wrestling. He said everybody's got a price, and he's right. Everybody does. But you also wonder if this is the message, right? The message here is, as big-time elite players, we want to play a season. And we want that season to have an off-season. And we want that season to be like F1. F1 races, 21 races a year. The NFL plays 18 weeks plus playoffs. They're in and out. The NFL offseason is 7 months. Basketball's offseason is July, August, September, and most of October. They get a 4-month offseason. Baseball gets 4 months. Golf, a week and a half. They looked at this wraparound schedule and said, it's not about opportunities to play. Originally, when we came up with the wraparound schedule, this was about, can we give the guys more chances to play? And what the guys at the top have said is, we don't need that. We want to play 25 weeks a year where we all play together, 20 weeks a year where we all play together, where it all matters. So figure that schedule out, and we're there. And that's what I think the PGA's got to work on doing, and that's what they are going to try to do. But I think at some point, I know the vitriol has been, and I'm there, I hate it too. The vitriol, they have to get to a place where they sit down and say, all right, we need to come up with a solution here, because we need these players in the Ryder Cup. We need these players in the President's Cup. We need these guys to play the tour, and we need these guys to play in the majors. How do we do this? And the reason why I'm going to give up the ghost here on this, I'm not cheering for Liv. I'm not going to be watching this week at Trump Bedminster. I'm not. But we talk about jumping the shark, no pun intended here, to talk about third leg Greg and his horrible, Greg Norman sucks. We're at that stage now where it's like, all right, clearly as Americans, we don't really care that Saudi Arabia kills people and has a horrible human rights record. We just don't care, because the former president of the United States is hosting them on his golf course. And the current president of the United States is fist bumping him like they're besties. So that tells you Republicans don't care. Democrats don't care. David Faraday, who His charity is about 9/11 survivors. That Saudi money still spends pretty good to me. I don't know, man. Again, everybody's got a price. And it's clear that the majority of the players that I really liked have theirs. And their price has been met. And so now it's about how do we minimize the damage and how do we just get our golf lives back.
Right, and it's forcing changes in the PGA Tour. I'm not going to be the guy who's like, "Hey, I hate live, but these great changes are coming to the PGA Tour." I'm not going to go there. I don't think that you always want to change, right? If you're not changing, you're losing. So I think that
and the
some
Tour's
changes
guilty of
would
that.
have come, and the PGA Tour does care. I mean, they do make changes. Now, were they going to get rid of the wraparound schedule? I don't know. I personally don't have a problem with the wraparound schedule. You say there has to be a solution. The solution is they've watered down the Safeway Open, right? You're not getting a whole lot of points to go there. These guys go because they like Napa Valley. Nothing forces these guys to play the full wraparound schedule. They're still finishing in the top 125. They're winning tournaments, they're making plenty of money. Their sponsors are happy. They do show up to the 3M Open every once in a while because they want to appease the tournament director and appease their sponsorship obligations. Okay. But I had to sit and listen last week, to Jason Day and I believe Ricky Fowler complain and say, "Hey, we're very happy to be here in Minnesota, but it would be really great if we didn't have to be here."
Yeah.
I'm not saying we wouldn't be here, but we'd love to have made that choice for ourselves instead of having to chase points. What do you guys want? There's a point system. You don't do well enough when it comes to points. And you have to chase points at the end. Whose fault is that? Again, for those who don't know, you're not getting as many points at the 3M Open or the Barracuda Championship or the Safeway Open as you are at the Wells Fargo Championship, Players Championship, Majors.
Yeah, they get 600. 3M gets 5.
Yeah.
Barracuda gets 3 because it's an opposite field event.
And then the money is less. So these guys aren't even showing up to these tournaments a whole lot. Guys show up to Safeway again because they like Napa. So where's the complaint? If you're talking about the first 6 golf tournaments of the year, so let's say how many golf tournaments are prior to January 1st?
I think they play like 12. I think they play like 12.
Okay.
I think, 10, 12, something like that.
How many golf tournaments was Dustin Johnson playing of those? 2?
2 maybe.
1?
2 or 3.
Okay.
Ryder Cup was mixed in there. But yeah.
And also, yes, off seasons are nice. They are.
100%.
But do football players get to go spend 3 weeks after a major just practicing a little bit, hitting some balls, staying sharp, but ultimately sleeping in their own bed, hanging out with their family, friends, traveling wherever they want. Then they go play 2 weeks, and then they get another 3.
So it's like what I want to ask Jason Day and Ricky Fowler is just like, obviously I know what they want. They want what LIV is. They want guaranteed money, and although I hear the LIV stuff, we'll get into what they're proposing for future seasons as well. But like they want guaranteed money, security, don't have to play, although LIV makes you play every event. But they, I guess I don't get it. So this is what I think the solution is going to end up being. Enjoy the 3M while you got it. Because it ain't going to be here. 2 years, it ain't going to be here. John Deere, enjoy it while you got it. Because it ain't going to be here. The Fortinet Championship in Napa, enjoy it while you got it. Because it ain't going to be here. The RSM, enjoy it while you got it. Because it ain't going to be here. It's going. And what you're going to get is a 30-tournament PGA Tour season with 4 giant mega team tournaments in the fall. Like LIV. And that's... Ernie Els says it like, hey, just let LIV do the fall. Like, let them have like 7, 8 events in the fall, and I guarantee you they'll be happy. Let them play for a couple months in the fall for gigantic cash, and they'll be happy.
And you're never going to have a Tom Hoagie, a Troy Merritt, a Hank Lebioda. You're never going to have those guys.
No, You're not.
Where are they going to develop?
Because the Corn Ferry, the problem here is that, what are you going to do with the Corn Ferry? And my thought is like, okay, here's a solution then, because what about all these starts? The Corn Ferry guys get these starts in the fall. That's a big deal for them when they get their cards. So now you're basically saying to them, yeah, but here's the thing. It's like a 30 tournament schedule, but like 4 of the events are majors. You got to earn your way in. The players, you got to earn your way in. You have 4 or 5 that are invitational tournaments, big ones, right? Big ones like Tigers tournament, Jack's tournament, Arnold's tournament. So that's already a third of the schedule that is like invite only. You got to be on the list. The WGCs, you got to be on the list if you're going to play in these events. So yeah, we're already limiting the opportunities for some of these Corn Ferry guys to even play, much less have success. So like to me, raise the status of the Corn Ferry, make them play in the fall. Have them play every week in the fall, starting in September. September, October, November, December. Have them play a 20-tournament sprint. Put all the money into it so that they can go and earn decent money playing on that tour. Graduate them up, and hopefully they can play 10, 15 tournaments on the PGA Tour until they establish themselves. But that's the only real solution, because if you're going to run it opposite, forget it. It ain't going to happen. You're right. The Corn Ferry, those guys who get their cards 80, 90th in the money, they're going to go away. And that's part of it is, the guys at the top are tired of giving giving Troy Merritt money. They're tired of giving Hank Lebioda money. That's what it is. They want more for them, less for these guys. It sucks. It really sucks.
And I'll give you guaranteed money. If you really want guaranteed money to show up, fine. But it's got to come from somewhere. And I'm not in the camp that believes the PGA Tour is stashing away money, billions of dollars, $1 billion reserve. I'm just not in that camp, and I'm not going to buy it.
I want to break this to guys like Sergio who think that, no, I'm worth $200 million. Bro, Patrick Mahomes plays for the Chiefs, and they generate tens of millions of viewers every Sunday. I mean, how many millions of eyes watch NFL football on Sunday on CBS, on Fox? That's why Fox pays $1 billion to show these games. PGA Tour, they have a nice contract. It's a very nice contract. It ain't the NFL contract. You ain't getting that money, Chief. You are a niche guy. I love golf, but you aren't in that conversation. Like, you don't get $200 million. I'm sorry.
And I followed you at 3M last year, and nobody was there to see you.
Nobody came to watch him play.
Say, oh, Sergio's coming up. That'll be fun to see. Nobody's buying a ticket because Sergio's there.
Yeah. 3M got hurt. The 3M really got hurt by Liv because guys who had played 3M in the past, Reed, DeChambeau, Koepka, Phil, DJ, all these guys at Oosthuizen played there last year. They all went and played, 3M in the past, which made the field half decent. Really hurt the field this year, being after the Open and with all the Liv defections. Really, I'm glad Tony Finau won because you get a kind of a name to win the tournament.
Right.
But it really hurt the tournament. It's hurting the tour. It hurt the tournament, and it's unfortunate because I think Minnesota golf fans were there. They showed up. They supported that event, and I feel like they're getting punished because they're not. I mean, yeah, is the golf course the greatest golf course in the world? No, it's not, but I don't think it's as bad as the no laying up guys make it out to be. It's a pretty nice golf course. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I challenge the no laying up guys to come and walk the course and play it.
Just come play it. Play it. They'd be happy to have you.
The foreplay guys played in the Pro-Am on Wednesday. Played with Sam Ryder and Callum Tarrant. And they said 18 is one of the best finishing holes they've ever seen.
What do you want? All those guys, and listen, again, I love these guys, but all they do is complain about shot value. I need shot value. What is better than that 18th hole? You got to hit a great tee shot and a great second shot, or you're making double on a par 5. How does it get better than that? It just, that's what you want. You can make eagle, you can make quad. Ask Matsuyama, who rinsed a sleeve of title or Srixons into that. By the way, Matsuyama going to live after the President's Cup as well. Sounds like
and he's going to get a lot of money.
Yes, and it sounds like now the manufacturers are getting involved. Like Srixon is going to sponsor that all Japanese team. When that happens, I mean, that's where the PGA Tour's got to throw their hands up and be like, man, I don't know what to do. What are we supposed to do? Is that the wave? Is that golf? Is that what we want golf to be? I guess we're out. We can't do anything more than what we're doing. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, can I live with these things in the golf ecosystem? Can I live, no pun intended, with live in the golf ecosystem?
If you ask me right now, I'd say no.
It's hard. It's really hard for me. Yeah. Like, I have no intention of watching Jerry Foltz, David Faraday. Now Gary McCord was on the radio the other day going, oh man, if you gave me an opportunity to work with Barkley and Faraday, why would I say no to that? How about because you guys were interesting 20 years ago? Like, literally, Barkley doesn't know anything about golf. I love Charles covering basketball. I don't want to hear him cover golf. I also don't want...
He's fun to listen cover the match, but it would get old. It would get old.
Faraday hasn't been... He lost his fastball a decade ago. Like, Faraday hasn't been great or interesting in, like, a decade. And now Gary McCord, who's just not relevant at all. And everybody thinks he's got this funny shtick. I don't think Gary McCord's funny. I don't think he offers anything to the game of golf. Offers nothing.
He has a nice mustache.
Nice mustache. That's it. Nice mustache. And they're like, well, no, this is what golf fans want. They want this. They want Faraday and McCord. No, I don't. When I played Tiger Woods 2001 on the PlayStation 2, then I wanted Faraday McCord. It's 2022. I don't need Faraday McCord. Pass. Sorry. I'm out.
Leave us Amanda Balionis.
Please.
Amanda Renner. Sorry.
I'll still take Amanda Balionis.
Leave us Dottie Pepper.
Yeah, Dottie's great.
She's an American treasure.
Yep.
She's great.
IFB. Give me IFB. Yep. We're fine.
Yep.
Frank Nobilo. I'm good with those guys.
IBF. Right? IBF?
IBF. Yep. IFB. Sorry. Ian Finch Baker is what I call him. IBF.
Leave them for us.
Yes. Thank you.
PGA Tour. Pay those people. CBS, whoever's paying them.
Pay them. Anyway. So that's that. I mean, that's the live news. And yeah, you're right. Bubba Watson's going to go over there now. Again, not surprising. It is what it is. But again, it hurts because like Henrik Stenson gave up his captaincy to go to live. And that kills the Ryder Cup because it's not that Henrik Stenson's great, right? It's the fact that you sell the Ryder Cup like it's for more than money. It's this deeper thing. It's a real deep thing. No, it's not. It's not better than money. And the Ryder Cup captain just proved it. Just proved that your event doesn't mean a whole lot to them.
You know what would put some butts in the seats?
Let's do a Ryder Cup live versus PGA Tour.
Exactly.
Let's do it that way.
There would be some legitimate bad blood there.
Oh,
and I would watch every second.
100%. 100%. And obviously I think Tommy Fleetwood's probably going to go soon too. The thing that's going to happen is they're going to run out of people. And like I said, what's going to happen when they start eating their own? Like when they go to Phil Mickelson and say, Phil, you're 48th out of 48 and we can pay Will Zalatoris $100 million and he's better than you. You know, I'm not saying Will Zalatoris is going to go, but that's just hypothetical, right? What's going to happen when that happens? I mean, we're already seeing it. Every week, as guys come in, guys get kicked out.
Yep. There's a list you can look up, guys who have been kicked out.
Yeah, Oliver Becker, Pedro Larrazabal, or whatever, Pablo Larrazabal. Look at them. They're back on the DP World Tour. Richard Bland. Just wait, Richard Bland. They're coming for you. You'll be out of there. Give it time, my man. You're going to be out of there real soon because they don't want you there. Taylor Gooch. I feel bad for Taylor Gooch. They don't want you there, man. They're happy to have you right now. They're getting ready in a couple of months. When that all Aussie team shows up, you're out of there.
There's a type of player that this makes sense for, right? And do you ever start to think maybe they're more likely to replace the senior tour, the fans that were glued to the senior tour, than
100,
replace the actual PGA Tour?
100%, 100%. I think
If you're
this,
Bubba Watson, I could have predicted that a long time ago. I get it. If I'm Bubba Watson, I might be doing that,
yeah,
right?
Pat
Because
Perez, I understand it. I do.
yeah, you're at the end of your career. They're going to pay you a bunch of money to go over there, play fewer events. That sounds like the senior tour, except 100 times the money,
Yeah.
right?
I have
So I
older
get
guys
it
doing
for
this, older
certain types of
guys,
players. Louis Oosthuizen,
Phil.
Charles Schwartzel,
Yeah.
Phil. Yeah, well, yeah.
Here's the thing. Phil did this. Phil went to the Champions Tour and he won 3 times in 4 events and he won like $2 million. And he went, that's it. I just came out here. I beat all these guys' asses. Like, that's it. I just got $2 million. That's all I made off this. I'm out. If that's what over 50 life is for me, I need way more than that. That ain't going to get this done. So, yeah, and case in point, Darren Clark and Steven Alker, Bernhard Longer's 63 and he's still beating people up on the tour. It's like the live guys aren't interested. Like Pat Perez to me seemed like a perfect senior tour guy. He won't go there now. Why? When you got 20 extra million, you're going to be done playing at 52. And you're good. Why play more? You don't have to. Phil,
Right.
55 when he's done. What's Phil going to go do? He's not going to go play the Champions Tour. He's going to be done.
By the way, Phil shows up tomorrow to a Champions Tour event. He's not winning.
Oh, hell no. Phil sucks. Like, Phil, you could make a case Phil's the worst player on the Live Tour. Right now. You could make a case. He's the worst player on the Live Tour.
Yeah.
And the only reason
definitely.
he's going to get a shelf life is because he's Phil and because he helped write the rules of the league. But somebody's going to get exited out of that league that gave up a lot to get there. Somebody's going to get exited, and it's going to cost them a lot.
Didn't Phil finish 10 over in London?
He sucks. Yeah, he
I don't know what
absolutely
he
sucks.
finished
He wasn't good at Pumpkin Ridge either.
Portland.
Yeah, he hasn't played well. Just has not played good golf.
Yeah.
What do you do, Ty? Oh, Jesus, this live stuff drives me crazy. When are we going to talk real golf again? I can't wait. As far as real golf goes, I mean, we're into the FedEx Cup playoffs in the next 2 weeks. And then the wraparound, whatever, the President's Cup, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air. A lot of balls are in the air. The next couple golf pods that you and I have might be more about the legal stuff, the stuff surrounding golf, not the golf itself. I cannot wait. My hope is by next year's Masters, we know what we're doing. Like, we have an idea of what's happening. Or unless the cat plays. If the cat's playing, we're interested. Other than that,
Right.
it might be kind of tough. It might be just a lot of us watching the legal stuff as we go through it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be plenty of live stuff to talk about. I mean, I don't even know if we talked about everything. We
didn't.
mentioned some names, but there's a lot of names out there that are pretty much a done deal that they're going to live that we probably did.
And we really didn't talk the Stenson stuff. Like, we kind of short-shrifted it here. But the Stenson news, I think, is the tipping point. I really believe that. Because,
totally leveraged his situation.
Yep, he 100% did. And got a big payday. And now the live guys can promote that they've got the Ryder Cup captain. You know, that they know what the players really want. And it's hard to argue right now. It's really hard. And now the tours and the RNA and everybody's in trouble because that's not what the Ryder Cup, the money. Like, the people who put the money up to cover the Ryder Cup, like NBC and the Sky Sports and all of that, they're like, hey, man, we pay a lot of money for the Ryder Cup, and there's a really good chunk of the roster that's not going to be there. That's not what we paid for. We're going to want to see some changes made here. And that's going to give the live guys some leverage. And I don't know if you can have the Ryder Cup and look at the guys in Europe and look at the guys in the United States and say, yeah, you'd be one of our 10 best guys, but we can't take you. And still call that a great event. It's the same problem the majors have. I don't know if the majors can look at Dustin Johnson and say, you can't play golf here. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know. I want them to. I want them to really badly. I just don't know if they can.
Yeah, and the more people that go, I mean, we love to talk about Dustin Johnson because he was it was pretty shocking, right? There wasn't a whole lot for rumors, and then boom, he was given $120 million to go over there or to go there.
And I really believe if it was just Phil and some of these old guys,
yeah,
I don't know if this has any legs, but when DJ made that move, it made it okay for Bryson. It made it okay for Koepka. It made it okay for some of these other guys. I really believe, and I don't think DJ takes nearly enough heat for it.
Right. I would argue that the Cam Smith thing and Hideki Matsuyama is bigger.
Oh, it'll kill it
for that tour.
Yep.
Than DJ, Koepka, and even DeChambeau in his current form combined.
Might give them enough to overtake. Not overtake the PGA Tour, but it
and
might give them the momentum.
And the global aspect to it matters.
Yep, it does.
Japanese market, it's going to matter.
It absolutely will.
The Australian market, and the fact that Cam Smith is one of the best players in golf in peak form, right? He is absolutely in his he's a peak player right now.
Yeah, I don't know where this goes. I just know that, maybe in the end it'll all be for the best and we'll love the new product. I'm a little bit worried about it. I'm a little worried about it. As a guy who went to the 3M and had a good time and enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's a great stop.
I was there for 9 hours.
I want the tour to say, you know what, we're still keeping these events because these events matter. Even if it's small-time guys, even if it's not a big-name field, these events still are good. They're good for business. They're good for everybody. I hope they do.
There could be some, not to be long-winded, but there could be something along the lines of, now that is going to water down the field even more, but it's still a PGA Tour event, but these events aren't necessarily playing a whole lot into the FedEx Cup, but it does play into having your card the next year. I know the two are intertwined, right, with the top 125.
I want more opposite field stuff then. I think what Barracuda and what the Barbasol have done, kind of carving out a niche, like what Puerto Rico
Open.
Yeah, it's you don't need, okay, fine. Let's just own what we have. Like John Deere just owns it. They don't have a great field every year. They just sort of own what they got. And I think that's what PGA just needs to do that. Just say, fine, we're going to opposite field the shit out of events. And we're still going to have 45 tournaments, but we're going to have them in 30 weeks. So every time there's a big-time event like the Genesis, we're going to throw an opposite against it. Anytime there's and all the big hitters, it's not going to get great ratings. We'll throw it on another side of the country or in another place, and that's fine. But we're going to have these events because it's important. And
it is.
I think it's important for the game to grow, right? Yep. Think about Sahith Theegala, Chris Gotterup, the guys who got into this event, who played in this event. It's really, I think it's good. And in the past, Wolf, Morikawa, Hovland, all got sponsors exemptions and stuff to come play, the 3M. Events like this. Spieth winning at the John Deere. Really important that these events exist for those young players. So, Ty, this stuff gets my dander up. So good to talk to you. So good to chat golf. Can't wait for us to go play some golf. We have not had a chance to really do it since Sun Valley. I can't wait till we get out tomorrow.
Can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, TyShrupp.com, by the way. If you need to go take care of things in your life, whether it is car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, you need to go see Ty Shrupp. You need to go to TyShrupp.com. You need to look at the insurance salesman to the stars, and you need to let him take care of you and the things that you need. And that's what he's all about, TyShrupp.com. Be sure to go hook up with him and get you rolling. Get you rolling so that he can continue to come on this podcast and continue to take me to great golf courses. That's what this is all about. So please make sure that you go do that. And also you can find our podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe on Tim Anderson Podcast at YouTube. Find the channel and watch our Ty's beautiful face and my slightly balding face as we kind of video pod this thing. You can go ahead and do that as well. We would love it if you did that and like it and do all of that good stuff. So till next time, we'll give you a full update next time we're on the Golf Pod. Until next time, this is Tim for Ty saying keep your head up, and we'll see you.